Good morning. It's Thursday, May 26th. And when Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine 3 months ago, is it already 3 months? 3 months ago, there's nobody around who expected this war to go on for as long as it has. And that's a credit to the Ukrainian people, and to other, what shall I call them, democratic nations around the world that have continued to supply Ukraine with medical help and weapons needed to defend themselves. And they have done a wonderful job defending themselves, even though their country is virtually leveled to the ground, because Putin and his army continue to fire missiles into the cities, to bomb hospitals and schools, and decimate cities like Mariupol. But the Ukrainians continue to fight on, and the aid continues to go to the Ukraine from the EU and from other nations around the world that want Russia to lose. But Russia has been stubborn, even though Putin's army has been reduced by approximately 20%, and his tanks are lying strewn, destroyed on the grounds. And I think that Putin has probably reached the tipping point, and that tipping point would be using some kind of nuclear weapon. So what is the world going to do if Putin decides that he has no recourse except to use some nuclear? Because that's the only thing he really has going for him right now. It's obvious that he can't win this land war. And if he does win the land war, what good is a country with 35 million people left in it, perhaps, but no place to stay, not a building standing? If you look at the decimation that has occurred in the Ukraine, it's horrendous. So what does Putin stand to gain right now? It's like having a desert on his borders. And I don't believe that the EU or NATO or any of those organizations right now can stand and continue to watch this thing. The aid is not going to stop. The aid is not going to stop. And I don't believe that Vladimir Putin is about to enter into any peace talks that make sense. And I believe what Senator Romney wrote in his opinion piece in the New York Times about preparing for the nuclear option. And that means getting ready. I don't know what we can do. I don't know. Romney didn't know really what we can do. But you have to examine, you have to think about that. Putin has nuclear weapons. And in my mind, he's probably ready to use them. And what should we do if he even opens up that idea? That is a threat. What can we possibly do to Russia to prevent him from going to his nuclear arsenal? Sanctions have not seemed to have any impact on his thought process with respect to the war. These sanctions have just like, shall I say it, fallen on deaf ears, because he and the oligarchs have managed to survive the sanctions. Short of cutting off his whole oil industry, there's not really much that can be done about this situation. I don't understand why right now he has any oil fields left. Yes, I recognize that decimating his oil fields would cause a great hardship to many countries. But is that hardship worth the cost if there's a nuclear option that's still on the table? So somebody should get the message to Putin. If he so much as opens up his nuclear arsenal, we will destroy his oil fields. We will destroy the economy of Russia. Could Russia stand it if they were attacked by many nations? Or by one nation who manages to do something like the US did in the bombing of Tokyo during World War II? Is that what we need to do? Do we need to get out an air force and go over there and level Moscow? Will that settle the issue? Would that threat change Putin's mind? I don't think so. So right now we're just going to sit here on the verge of watching the Ukraine get decimated, leveled to the ground, and all we've done is sent some missionaries over there, some of our political people. We've sent them to Ukraine to meet with Zelensky. What good is that doing? He knows he has our support. What we must do is really, really affect Putin physically. Get the full attention of the Russian people. And by doing that, maybe we can get rid of this dictator. But he's sitting there on this pile of nuclear weapons, and that is a terrible threat to the rest of the world. So if he decides he's going to use it, will any of his generals stand up and say, don't do that? You're putting us in danger and as much danger as the rest of the world? I don't know. I don't know how we can combat a nuclear attack if he opens it up. But in any event, he's sitting there with this arsenal, the largest nuclear arsenal in the world. And that's a terrible thing. That's scary. So I'm going to leave you at that this morning. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.